Hey, welcome back, guys. Creed 3, the climactic sequel that caps off the Creed trilogy, dropped over the weekend, and it was a heavy film that centered on loyalty, friendship, betrayal, and revenge, all of which culminated in an emotionally driven, action-packed main event that'll have many fans clamoring for more narrative in the years to come. Michael B. Jordan did a superb job in his directorial debut, and Jonathan Majors' performance as the scorned Damien was a reminder of how a few wrong turns can turn a friend into an enemy just like that. Throughout the film, I couldn't help but notice the parallels this story held to one we know all too well, Power's original series, and the broken bond between Ghost and Kanan in particular. In today's video, we'll be analyzing that relationship, comparing it, and reviewing the new Creed film as we go along. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Creed 3 and Power. Here we go. The story of Creed 3 begins nearly 2 decades before current day, with the young Donnie Creed sneaking out with his best friend, a young Damian Anderson, to an underground boxing match. During this era, Creed was the Robin to Dame's Batman, the latter being a Golden Gloves champion aspiring for a professional career in boxing. That dream gets derailed during a routine store run when Creed recognizes a former abuser from their group home and subsequently beats the man to a pulp. The man's friends later join in to subdue Creed, but Dame pulls his gun to protect his little brother, a decision that ends up costing him 18 years of his life, and worse, his boxing dreams altogether. Dreams that Creed himself would go on to fulfill, and fulfill tenfold. We find Dame's former protege in the midst of his final bout before retiring into the business side of boxing. Similar to the great Floyd Mayweather, Donnie starts a promotional company / boxing academy with his coach Duke and begins promoting his own protege. It's at this point in his life that he re-encounters his old friend Damien, who poses as a proud ally to his estranged comrade. Dame finesses his way into Donnie's good graces, subtly using the guilt that his friend maintained all these years for his incarcerated predicament to manipulate a title shot against Donnie's new protege. However, a revelation from Donnie's mother unveils Dame's true plot and leads to an inevitable collision between the former friends turned bitter enemies. Literally, the tensions between the two friends call back those that existed between Ghost and Kanan. Similar to Dame's position in Donnie's life, Kanan was a mentor and friend to Ghost. Both ran together in the drug game until Kanan found himself on the wrong end of the law and in prison for a protracted stint. Unlike Donnie's role in Dame's imprisonment, Ghost was intentional. His actions against Kanan were deliberate and created a scenario where Ghost was able to take over the drug trade and thus live out the dream that Kanan was robbed of, one of glory, lavishness, and splendor. Donnie's role, in contrast, was an unintentional occurrence fueled by an emotional outburst rather than a calculated plan. Be that as it may, the result was analogous for Dame in comparison to Kanan. Donnie's mentor and friend was locked up and robbed of the glorious lifestyle and accolades that Donnie would go on to receive. Prison time would only harden the bitterness Dame felt for his old friend's neglect throughout the unfortunate stint, and he would emerge in similar fashion to Kanan, posing as a friend to his understudy, only to plot against him for vainglory the entire time. In Dame's case, he slithered his way into the heavyweight title, only to turn his back on his friend, as was done to him. The heart-wrenching scene fully drove home the dynamic of patient revenge, and was cathartic for the felon turned champion. Kanan dreamed of an even darker revenge, one that was befitting of the crime Ghost committed against their brotherhood. His plan was to buddy up to Ghost, learn the foundations of his organizational structure through their mutual friend, and overthrow him altogether, requiring his life to complete his revenge. In the conclusion of both Kanan and Dame's respective plights, they would make amends of sorts with their former running mates. However, a showdown would take place in both regards prior to alliances. Creed would be forced out of retirement once Dame's scheme was realized, and he defeated him in the fight for LA. Ghost, on the other hand, defeated his foe in a deadlier bout that nearly cost him his life, only to come out on top and leave Kanan burned to a crisp. In the case of both antagonists, the signs of jealousy were apparent and preceded the actions that followed. When Donnie was first reintroduced to Dame, the latter was leaning on his car as if he owned it. It was the first symbol of his discontent. He felt that Donnie's success should have been his own, and that his former protege was living the life that he was robbed of when he pulled that trigger. Thus, leaning on his luxury vehicle was a subtle way of saying, "This is mine," or at least it should be. Donnie also allowed Dame entry into his home, and even offered him money, further incensing him by the display. This was also something that occurred between Ghost and Kanan. Kanan gained entry into Ghost's home and witnessed how his former understudy was living in his absence. In his fall performance as a friend, Kanan would imply personal discontent for Ghost's thriving situation minus his influence. In both cases, underlying jealousy was omnipresent. Minister Farrakhan once stated that jealousy makes you like a Satan. You smile when you don't mean it. This dynamic was maintained during both Dame and Kanan's reintroduction into the lives of their friends turned backstabbers. The battle between Creed and Dame in the film's third act was a symbol for good versus evil, as represented by the fighters' opposing glove, trunk, and practice colors, Creed's being white and Dame's being black. Damien's name was another indicator of his evil status, as it's the name associated with the son of the devil in horror movie lore. In Creed 3, Dame is led down an evil path after trying to carry out a righteous act, and being demoted to the depths of American hell in the form of the prison system. His fractured relationship with Donnie is brilliantly foreshadowed in the opening soundtrack to their younger days, Dr. Dre's The Watcher. In that song, a mature Dre reflects on the days of old and friends long gone, most notably his long-lost friend at the time, Eazy-E. One line the film highlights is the following: "Best friends and money, I lost them both. When it visited niggas in the hospital." It's a clue for the audience as to what's to come of Donnie and Dame's relationship. The irony being that Donnie never visited Dame at all, which only strained things between them and set the stage for the chaos that ensued. Another ironic aspect of the song is that Dr. Dre was integral in 50 Cent's early success in the rap game, and 50 is revered as the diabolical Kanan throughout the Powerverse. But that'll do it for this one. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you seen Creed 3? And if so, what did you think of it? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power and Creed fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.